In 4, 3, 2, 1. We crank up the volume on this just so that I have the appropriate amount of background music in here. Back when I first started up here on GoogleTube, there was somebody who's always seemed to be in everybody's crosshairs as being the big whiny crybaby. And I won't mention her name because at this point I think I owe her an apology. But most of you know who I'm talking about, and she goes by the initials BBD. And I just have to say I'm sorry. I honestly thought that you were the epitome of absolute crybabyishness and this whole victimology of, oh, they're out to get me with your little histrionic rants about certain types of men, let's say. I don't want to delve into too much detail because I learned from somebody who'd been cut down to 0 percentage points that when you mention people's names, they use that as their convenient excuses to say that somebody's attacking me, they're taking it and they're slandering me, and they run cry to daddy YouTube, and it's like, oh, poor baby, there, let me make it right for me, let me cancel this person's account and terminate them and flag their stuff and all this other mess. And, you know, GoogleTube has gotten to become like the biggest whiny crybabies themselves as a result of people just running to them for any little excuse. Never mind the stuff that they're supposed to be flagging off, of course, like all the titties flying in everybody's faces, and you got that Erykah Badu video all over the place. All kinds of viewership and everything, but you still get pussy lips flying right in your face, and nobody once hits that thumbs down button or a flag button or anything. So it's all a bunch of hypocrisy and all that other stuff. I get that. So the little users and those of us who get involved with these little personal beefs and everything, well, you know, there's an exemption clause to where we can be the convenient targets of all that stupid nonsense. So just to play it on the safe side, thanks to some little sticky candy cooch that pretty much showed us how it's done, I'll keep quiet without naming specific names. But at this point, everybody's becoming aware of who has taken the crown as far as being the biggest crybaby on YouTube. And this time, it's not a black woman. Can you believe it? It's actually a black man for a change. And of course, being the biggest crybaby and attention whore, and with this biggest victim complex that he has running around on his shoulders, he's whining and crying to everybody. They're flagging my channels. They're cutting me off. Now the latest thing is that they're running him off of Twitter. How do you run somebody off of Twitter? That doesn't happen. But see, this is the mind of a histrionic. There's this constant victim complex that they have because they think they're so much more important than they really are. Has multiple YouTube channels, at least 20. Facebook, at least one Facebook account. I don't know if there's more than one Facebook account. Probably has multiple Facebook accounts too, as far as we know. And 4 websites, which, surprise, surprise, conveniently all of a sudden became hotbeds for malicious virus downloads just right after General Backlash exposed his channel as being having absolutely no interaction from anybody whatsoever. Fake Twitter feeds from people who are clearly him, trying to pump himself up, making himself look like he's, because he's not getting any feedback on Twitter. Then he's got this whole thing going on with oh, you know, your page is, you know, you're speaking the truth. And I'm not going to deny that the feedback that he got on all 4 of his web-linked web pages probably had some real people interacting with it. But when you can get only about as high on average as between 2, 3, or 4 people at any given time actually interacting with anything like feedback or leaving a comment or anything of this sort, excuse me, but in my mind, that makes you totally irrelevant. Kind of like what I am now after this whole flagging campaign pretty much knocked me out of the ballpark. And so I have to try to do everything I can to rebuild my little, whatever little bit of a following I had, which, you know, no big deal to me, but I just kind of find it ironic that I actually helped pull somebody else along, and now they're like totally surpassing me in the area of positive feedback and subscribers and viewership and all that other stuff, and which is good, like I said, you know, because she deserved it. But the thing is that, you know, you think that when you start out, you're pretty much going to be the one that's going to be up there and you're going to kind of like take the preeminent position. But, you know, things happen. You get knocked down, or people's preferences change and whatnot. And that's just the name of the game. That you just go with the flow. Sometimes you're on top. Sometimes you get knocked back a few pegs. You have to work yourself back up if you want to work yourself back up. That's the way normal people behave. But this this gay fabulous I'm every woman what's his name who's clearly effeminate. I won't go the extra mile and say that he's homosexual or even bisexual. That's something I have no evidence for. But the guy is clearly hyper effeminate, and if that matters to anybody and that gives anybody any indication as to what type of person he actually might be, well, that's the burden of proof is on you if you want to go that route. I'm not going to say one way or the other, but let's just say that, yeah, it looks highly suspect. But anyway, my whole thing with this guy now is just that it's a pleasure to see that people are finally starting to wake up to who this crybaby really is, because his whole claim to fame came as a whole trial of hits and misses. If anybody remembers when he just came out of pretty much nowhere and started getting this little viewership that he thought made him somebody who was totally relevant, he didn't have any kind of a leg to stand on as far as what he was going to use as his calling card, if you will. He was constantly going all over the place, jumping from one thing to another thing to the next thing to the next thing, trying to find a way to where he could get some sort of viewership or some sort of attention his way. And sure enough, eventually he landed on the let's rip black hoes to bitter shreds and everything, which, like I said, you know, that's sort of like the easy route if you want to be a black man and try to get some kind of notoriety for yourself, positive or negative. But that seems to be the way to do it in this gender war era. And so he jumped on the thing, set himself up a little fakey little radio studio, gave himself some voice lessons. Apparently, I suspect he probably went to voice school in order to sound like he was some sort of like a radio announcer or whatever in this. And always talking about how much better he's got it than you've got it, because he's got these 4 little web pages, and supposedly people are flagging his channels, which in retrospect, if you really think about it, it starts to look suspiciously a lot like he's flagging his own shit and getting his own stuff deleted, so that way he can move everybody into, well, since that channel got flagged down, go over to this channel. Oh, that channel's getting attacked, so go over to this channel. And if you ever notice that for all these channels that keep getting flagged and shut down and everything, they still seem to exist. I thought these channels were getting terminated and shut down. So why are they still around? Okay, so again, this guy has a major, serious attention whore complex. So much so that I have to apologize to BBD. Because until I started seeing how this guy operates, this whole persecution complex that BBD used to carry on her shoulders is like ounces compared to what this guy does, because it's like he's got the whole world on his back as far as this whole persecution victimology complex that he just keeps wandering around thinking that he's so much more important. And in order to keep that whole drama stirred up, in order to keep people coming after him like this, it's a breath of fresh air to see that people are finally realizing that this guy doesn't get any kind of notoriety whatsoever. He doesn't get any kind of attention whatsoever until he sets himself up for all these persecutions. His habit is that he looks for any little thing that anybody says that's not in total 100% agreement with him, and he'll launch out a vitriolic attack, or he'll say something so out of decency, such as when he went after Jeannie Burlesque's little girl, a little 9-year-old girl. I mean, that makes what Rush Limbaugh said about Chelsea Clinton look like an excusable offense. So hear this, and I'm going to use the word this time because I don't like using this word, but in this case it applies. This nigger actually had to go after somebody's innocent little child for no other reason than to get notoriety for himself. And then as soon as he gets the backlash, suddenly it's like everybody's out to get me, everybody's persecuting me, and oh, I need to flag all these people down, and if you support these people, and if you subscribe to these people, well, I'm going to block you, and you're no longer a part of my crew. Never mind, of course, the fact that the people he always threatened with being blocking for being subscribed to somebody he doesn't like. Interesting. They're still subscribed to him. Gee, how'd that happen? I thought you were going to block these people. I gotta think of a name for you, because I just can't. I mean, I don't know. I guess I'll just call you Mr. Every Woman, since that Whitney Houston song seems to be your favorite theme song or whatever. You know, as you prance around like you're gay fabulous and all this other mess. So, okay, Mr. Every Woman. You pretty much show who and what you really are. And this whole victim complex that you just keep holding on to, that you just keep throwing around. And why so many people still sniff up your butt crack, seeing plain and simply, oh, that's right, I understand now. Forget me, I had a slip of my IQ points there a little while. I know why they keep sniffing up your butt crack. It's because you keep slamming black women. And as long as you keep doing that, then you're gonna have these disingenuous, fist pumping, talk down about them black hoes types. No matter what you're saying, if it makes black women look bad for any reason whatsoever, they're gonna sniff up in your butt crack. Even though that half the times that you bring up issues with black women, you kind of leave out the other important factors that a lot of times black women are on this BS is because of the BS that black men provide for them, which, gee, surprise, surprise, a vicious cycle. It just, one hand washes the other. But of course, you're not about that kind of balance, just like those who keep sniffing up your butt crack are not about that kind of balance. And so anybody who attacks you, well, it's like attacking mommy. Because anybody who attacks mommy is a bad person, even though mommy actually is a bad person. But to the little tiny baby child who sees mommy as, well, mommy's wholesome, mommy's pure, mommy's the best person. Why is everybody hating on mommy? Mommy's not supposed to be attacked by anybody. But sometimes mommy's a bad person. You know what? An abused child who gets mistreated by their mother will still love their mommy because it's mommy. And if anybody tries to put mommy in jail for abusing the little child, don't take mommy away. Hey, your mommy just abused the hell out of you. It doesn't matter. That's my mommy, and mommy's good. Even though mommy did bad, mommy's always good. So that's why y'all keep hanging on to this Mr. Fabulous's I'm every woman's nutsack, because he makes you feel good. He makes you feel like he's your mommy because of the fact that he beats up on black women. Whether it's justified or not, as long as he's doing it, that's what motivates you, and that's why you keep schmoozing over into his corner. But the longer you keep doing it, and the longer you keep pulling the wool over your eyes and putting on rose-colored glasses, you're not going to see how duped that this guy is doing to you. You're just being strung along for a ride, and you don't even realize it because you got your eyes closed, or you're just too much wrapped up into this whole thing about being validated, that you let yourself be run over and let yourself just be made look like just total jackasses and fools by this guy, because the fact is that he fills a need that you need filled. And so it doesn't matter who and what he is or what he does, you're just right on that. But those who have been having their eyes opened lately, who are starting to see who this clown is, how he bullies people into getting this notoriety for himself, how he starts beefs with people just so that he can get everybody on his side to make himself look like he's the poor put upon victim. A lot of folks are starting to wake up to this mess, and they're starting to call him out on it. So how long is it going to take for the rest of you to figure out that this crybaby is just having one major pity party at your expense? I'm just asking a question. Only you can provide the answer. End of line.